round. I actually prefer him to be banned on blue side personally because I think it's harder to get pure, pressure in your lanes. That being said, doesn't matter what Chovy plays, he often always just has lane pressure anyway, and getting mid prio is how is the most important step to making Udyr as relevant as you can. There's the Thresh pick away. I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
It can be either the Jinx that they pair with it or the Aphelios, so I'd expect that they'll lock in something else here as we've got 10 seconds to go, and it looks like Nidalee will be the answer.
Nidalee is a good pickup here for Dread, and then you can wait a little bit here to see what Hanwha Life is going to pick before you lock in your AD. You might get some hints as to what they want to go. Like if you end up seeing the Kai'Sa here, you know what you're getting yourself into. As we do see Varus making a comeback. It was Ghost who played it last time, and said the main reason why he picked it was because he wanted to have extra range, especially against the Nasus. So this one's a little bit more blind. Picked up very early here for Deft.
Could be for Deft. I mean, Chovy theoretically could play some mid lane lethality Varus, but there is Azir on the ban list, and oftentimes, it was him used into the Azir.
They picked up the Camille before the second ban phase, so it works really well with Udyr. The Renekton was banned away, but Morgan could play a very similar controlling top lane champion and try to get very ahead. Then you could ban away the Scion here in second ban phase for Hanwha Life Esports. You could ban away the Gragas if it's not picked up here, and it looks like they are going to grab Kalista. That's actually going to be the choice here for Bang.
Bang has a skin on this champion, which is pretty cool. Hopefully he's going to be rocking it as Fly going to lock that one away. And look, it's not exactly a lot of range.
Yeah, that's my issue.
It is a little bit more skirmishing power, and one thing that Ghost actually has been outspoken about is that Varus, the main thing that he got nerfed in was his early game.
Yeah.
And Kalista, very, very strong in the early game, especially when paired with something like the Thresh. That was sort of the original Kalista lane, despite the fact that the lore does dictate that they should be enemies.
Tom Kench being banned here right away. The Gnar ban actually over the Scion or Gragas bans here for Hanwha Life Esports, which is interesting because Camille has historically had a good time with champions like Udyr in that matchup on the top side. Again, I guess you could argue it could be mid Camille for Chovy, but very, very, very unlikely in this draft for that to actually be the case.
Yep.
I wonder now, for Afreeca Freecs, where do they get the rest of their front line as respect being shown?
Absolutely.
Because you need a strong front line for this comp because Kalista has very little range, Nidalee has a lot of poke, but you're going to need something to actually tank it up. Even the Jax ban here that I know Chronicler is like, yes! At home,
it is an isolated, the isolated counter pick into the Camille, of course.
He's been talking about this one since before the season started.
Yeah, it's something that I think has seen a little bit of play over in the LPL. Not so much here in the LCK, but certainly is something that Keen has played a lot of in the past. I love the Gragas pickup here. I think it's a great pick away from Hanwha Life Esports that really would like to add that extra layer of disengage to this Varus style composition that is largely going to be based on Camille split pushing, Varus clearing waves from a really long way away. His line wave clear is very, very strong, and Gragas would certainly help a lot there. So picking it away doesn't really fit super well into their comp, however.
Yeah, that's the problem. And Alistair is now taken for Hanwha Life Esports, so that's more frontline for the comp that they're running, and a little bit more lockdown. I wonder, Fly has played the mid Scion before. It's certainly possible that he plays it here again, and we're about to find out what he's going to be playing it into. Chovy's pick will be locked in here as the last one. And it's Victor. Okay. I mean, it's a tough matchup to play that into, but it's theoretically possible. I wonder if Afreeca have enough frontline, right, with his Gragas. If they play something like, an Orianna here, then I'm worried about the lack of ability to tank for this Kalista. And where's going to be the follow-up? Where's going to be the follow-up engage for all these spears that are going to come through for Dread? And this works, right? This is the front line that you're going to have. Now you have stronger engage even. You can pull somebody into Kallista's range to help finish them off. You can help lock them down with body slams, explosive casts. I like this pick a lot.
No, I think it's fantastic. It's also Fly's best champion that he's played so far this year. I think it's him and Bay that have been saved by Set many times so far. And definitely a good look here for Afreeca. Top side of the map, definitely a lot of magic damage, so Morgan might have a better time up there. However, Gragas does just generally win this matchup, and just in isolation, of course. But, you know, you've got a decent 4-1 coming out of Hanwha Life Esports, and I think the 4 has a lot of really stable wave clear to come through here. So
yeah.
will be Morgan getting a lot of space on this map if Hanwha Life Esports do play out the early game decently well and keep their eye on their macro play in the mid to late game.
This is another matchup too for Chovy where you think about Chovy as, okay, you put him on one of these control mages, one of these slower matchups. It's not where stylistically he likes to play, but in this matchup, this is where Chovy can go 80 CS, 100 CS up at the end of the game. His scaling is going to be incredible. He just crushes set in lane. He has Udyr to help back him up in that regard, so he can really push the envelope as to where that trading can, how much he can actually trade, force fly back, lock him out of a lot of CS, a lot of experience. I do like this Victor pick into the set, you know, I mean, for what Chovy is going to be able to accomplish, even though it is a few question marks on the flashiness of the champion. It gives them a lot of late game scaling too, in a composition where the early game is already so stable.
Not to mention the fact that they have the Chains of Corruption and then they add Chaos Storm on top of that as well. I mean, the AoE damage out of this comp with just the Varus and the Victor is ludicrous. And we'll have to see exactly how Deft is going to be building his Varus. It looks like lethal tempo, so he is going more of the auto attack style that you know, is basically how it's done at the moment. We saw the huge meteoric rise of the lethality Varus last year, but going a little bit more of a attack speed focus here for Deft, unless he decides just to take lethal tempo and then go into lethality anyway,
sure.
Which we have actually seen a couple of times.
It does work. I think the set makes you, you know, think a little bit twice about going lethality. But you still can do it. We'll see what he decides.
I mean, this is a tanky comp, right?
Yeah.
He does need to get through things like Set and Gragas, which are certainly going to be building pretty tanky. So I definitely I like the flexibility.
Yeah, and if, like, for example, if Bang and Lehen's overextend in lane and he ends up getting like 2 early kills or something like that, if he has a really early lead, which theoretically he shouldn't, again, from reasons you talked about, the nerfs to early game for Varus, and how strong Kalista is there. But if he somehow gets a lead, I think you could really beg the question as like, well, maybe he should be building lethality to snowball this even harder, but...
He normally does, actually. Like, him in solo queue, oftentimes he's going Comet, he's building the Duskblade, you know, just a pretty standard lethality Varus style build. This time around, just going to flex it up just a little bit.
And we didn't talk about this pretty aggressive invade, but doesn't lead to anything. As we'll look at Bang's win rate on the champion. An old favorite of his as well, 22 and 6.
I think probably one of the most famous Kalista players in the world, as he's going to get exhausted. Deft also got exhausted underneath the turret, as the rend is going to be pulled out, and yeah, we get introduced to Bang's Kalista very early in this one.
Lehen's loses flash for this, you know? There's a very aggressive play, and, you know, this is where Kalista's going to shine, is in the early parts. You end up trading like this once, and then the second time you end up having an exchange like this, you kill Deft, right?
Yeah.
You know, they had to trade the exhaust and the heal, but I think you're pretty happy with this Hanwha Life, knowing that the Thresh Flash is down, and you have both of yours available.
Yeah, possibility for Udyr to get in here, but of course it's Udyr, so he's not going to be ganking the bottom side of the map. And that's why you can afford to be a little bit more aggressive here. As Deft grabs both of those minions with his hail of arrows. Hook is going to go slightly wide there as we have a look at Dread helping Fly shove out this mid lane. Chovy just trying to burn it down as Johan doesn't have a lot of priority to work around, as you can see, and actually really like utilizing the Nidalee to get into that lane and allow yourself to have some artificial pressure. As Johan is down here, he's spotted Dread. As Fly's down as well, immediately roaming towards the bottom side. The hook is going to go wide. Spear connects, but they're not going to be able to act on this by the looks of things, but still a lot of pressure for Afreeca early. Yeah,
a lot of pressure attempted, but, you know, you're giving a lot of extra CS to Chovy in the mid lane right now. He's actually feeling very comfortable. This ends up being a lot of minions lost, in fact, for Fly, and you don't get any summoners out of it. It was a good idea, and it was definitely a cool option, but it has a really nice consequence, you know, for Hanwha Life. Yeah, this is a pretty aggressive trade.
Yeah, it is. Morgan is going to be eating through that potion, and tactical sweep, doing a bit of work there. As we'll see whether Keen is going to be able to survive this. He's definitely playing on the edge right now, and I'm getting scared for him.
Yeah, this is another one of those matchups where, you know, when you hit 6, you're holding tight to your cask if you're Keen, and if you're Morgan, you're looking for any possibility to trade, because if Udyr comes up and you hit that Hextech ultimatum, you get a kill.
Yeah.
Almost every time. And if you can force Flash out early around this time, it is absolutely huge. It's not able to do so, though.
Yep. Johan is going to be able to take this Rift Scuttler on the top side of the map. That is going to be an even trade as Scuttles. But as you can see, I mean, the Udyr not actually struggling too much when it comes to the clear in comparison to the Nidalee, which is something that you should expect. However, I did like how Afreeca tried to sort of grab a bit of extra control and try and put him off his game. Fly still pushing up pretty aggressively, as you can see. Of course, just the durability of Set makes it so hard for you to threaten him, just because the grit is so hard to get through.
Yeah, and once you hit 6, I mean, there are ways to where you can actually look to kill the Victor too, especially if Dread is nearby. You can't miss the spear if he's end up getting caught and pulled in with a face breaker. Morgan is still trying to force the issue up here. Obviously, they've traded teleports and gone back. Can't get that flash out. And unfortunately, with the way the wave is pushed, like you can see the timing of Udyr.
Vista's making sure that that cannon is going to be taken by Deft.
Yep.
Actually by himself, as the minion dematerializes it.
But this is the timing I'm talking about. Level 6, almost hit here for Morgan. Johan is making the long rotation up, but I don't think that they can actually collapse and get a kill here. Game doesn't have, he didn't lose his flash, right? So he should still be fine.
Yep, Dread actually has to hop out of the pit because he got a little bit scared of dying there. Does hop back in again.
I've seen a little bit of that.
To take this one down.
A little bit of Nidalee hopping over the pit this year.
Yep. Especially when she's against an Udyr.
Yep.
As we saw.
Okay.
There's the hook shot. Morgan just getting a bit of damage down onto Keen.
6 is up. This is what I'm talking about.
Yep. Hextech ultimatum right on top of the Gragas. Nowhere for him to go, and first blood is so easy on the top side for Hanwha Life.
He had flash, but the window in which you would have to hit it to escape that it's almost impossible.
Yeah, no, it was actually just too hard.
Like, I mean, I don't know if he could have done it. I don't know if it was like if there was even a window there, but it's so unfortunate when you're caught and traded like this. Like he would have had to leave now, and unfortunately, he doesn't know Johan is here. And once you're on the Hextech ultimatum, there's no getting out of this. Yeah, he dies before it expires. The flash wouldn't have been helpful.
It was right as it was expiring, though, so really nice timing there from Hanwha Life Esports to make sure that they can get the kill. And a Camille getting ahead in this matchup. That's real dicey, and it's Morgan versus Keen, right? This is where Afreeca should have their advantage.
Yes. You know, so far, I mean, that's been the shield beats the sword, right? You know, rock beats the scissors, whatever you want to call it, right? In terms of the play style.
Yeah.
But in this matchup, when you have the Udyr to pair with Morgan's Camille, it's so easy to make plays like this happen, and Keen just did not respect the timing of level 6 when they didn't have vision.
Johan not going to get hit by the spear as Dread unfortunately misses that. That's going to mean that he's not able to grab the red buff. Fly now slightly out of position as Vista looking for that headbutt pole. Can't quite get there as he does manage to pulverize Lehens. They focus on him. Deft is here as well as Fly gets a huge shield. Johan running away as fast as he can. Vista doing the same thing. Great play from Lehens, who stays alive for so long. Deft turns around and gets him in the very end as we've traded supports. But Hanwha Life are going to be able to make their way out, and Chovy continuing to try and push this wave. Johan goes towards his top side, and it looks like that red buff is actually going to go to Dread in the end.
Well played on both sides, but at the end of the day, Fly just did not back down. I think a lot of people in that fight would have actually walked away, but Fly actually trusted that his teammates were going to have to follow up. He wanted to make sure Bang could get into range. So he actually continued to fight, you know, used his face breaker, and was able to do quite a bit of peel there to get the AD carry into position. We'll watch the fight again in a moment, but this could have been much worse for Afreeca, and it ends up being a trade.
Yeah, you got Johan. He's going to wander his way out. It looks like blue buff should be going over to Chovy here, unless Chovy just wants to go back instead, and it is just going to be a reset first. They can maximize the durability on that blue buff. We'll see whether Dread is actually going to be able to steal that one away as they walk over a ward. Looks like it is going to be the Rift Herald that they're going to start up exactly when Hanwha Life Esports are going for a reset. I like that. Morgan going to be moving down here with his IG skin on, of course, representing his time over in the LPL quite nicely, as I like.
They have some time to rotate over here. Morgan can slow this down for a second. They've had so much vision of this. And Keen does have his explosive cask. He's absolutely going to have to come if they want to secure this.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Looks like Afreeca are just going to be able to pick this one up.
Wow, they don't contest this at all. I really felt like that with the position there of Chovy, they could have come over and tried to fight for this, but let's watch this really extended fight. As, you know, what's really impressive to me about this is the trust that Fly has of his teammates. Like, he's getting chucked down, he's stunned here, and decides to go in. Pushes Johan into the range here of Dread, and Bang is rotating his way up. And Fly just stays for so long, and then Bang is able to come up and get that damage done. Sure, that's a trade of supports, but that could have been much worse. So speaking of casts,
yeah, in the meantime, it is going to be Keen walking away. Can't bear slap for the next few seconds, so is able to make it out to safety. No flash required. In fact, no one using their flash buttons, but still, Keen does have to go home.
and look at Chovy.
Now on cooldown.
This is where I was talking about with this matchup, where Set is roaming around because he wants to get more impact on in the game, because you picked Set for a reason. You want stronger front line, but he has really nice engage. The time he spends out of lane is where Chovy suddenly finds himself slipping into a 25 CS lead.
Yes.
Pushing down turrets.
Accidentally falling into a 25 CS advantage.
Feels like that's what Chovy does, you know?
Yeah, no, I swear, like, when we went into the replay, though, it was like a 7 CS advantage, and like, Fly leaves for like 5 seconds, and then it's all over, as there's the Fate's Call. Hook is going to connect there onto Johan as well, who's trying to get out of here. Control ward is down. The Rend comes through as well. He'll have another turtle. And unfortunately, the Pierce ain't going to work. He needed to throw it past the minions, and it was just going to be a little bit too hard. And the Chaos Storm is there just to get Afreeca out, as Johan didn't have flash. He just wandered out of that one. Just Udi, I think.
Just
what it
barely.
feels like.
Yeah, he's made of butter, I guess, or he's covered in butter and oil together. It was a really cool attempt, though, by Bang there. The Fate's Call to throw the Thresh into the hook. Was pretty awesome to see.
It is sort of like the standard combo with the Thresh, right? You use the knock-up to get the wind-up and guarantee the CC. I remember in the first 1v1 tournament at All-Star, it was, I believe, X Special and Double Lift that utilized the Varus Thresh very, very effectively, just because you do have the Chains of Corruption stun, and the chaining of CC is just beautiful. Thresh, pretty good at doing that.
This is a very aggressive attempt, and they have vision here onto Keen. I think Johan needs to get out of here. He actually has no idea that the rotation of the bot side is coming. I mean, he should have a good idea.
Yeah. What is going to go down? Keen is in a lot of trouble. And I said an obvious 2v2 is a 1v1, and this is a 2v1, absolutely. As in goes Lehens and Bang, and they're going to make it a 3v2 instead. Thankfully, I can do that math on the fly, as Morgan's in so much trouble. Going to get flayed back. Lehen's looking real good. Remember, this guy was known for his Thresh play, Deliverance Garners, things like that. As now Dread has found Johan, but misses that spear as well. Pesky minion waves.
Johan
getting in the way all over the place.
Yeah, Johan is just, he's getting so lucky, man, in all these scenarios. But that's what I was saying. I think Johan needs to get out of here because, you know, Bang and Lehens were on their way. This is going to be a nice little delay. Can they actually kill this? I don't think so.
We'll see. Chains of Corruption will go in here, as even the Hail of Arrows getting a lot of value. Heal has to be utilized, as well as that Primal Surge.
Almost got him.
Yeah, they do manage to get the charge, so that is certainly good news. Chovy just hanging out with this outer turret in the mid lane, but he hasn't been able to extend that lead too much further. 1.1k is the lead here for Hanwha Esports. But it feels much closer here this time around, as we have a look at this from a very long time ago.
Yeah, knock up into the hook.
Oh, Ignite is 4-3-2-1.
Yeah, just out of cooldown there, and he cannot get it. That's so sad, actually. All right, so watching this exchange here, Johan went so deep, but he was spotted very early on. So Lehens and Bang are ready for this. Lehens is ready with the Lantern to save Keen, and he's just so tanky, he's just going to drink for a second, and then now you lose Flash, so guess what? Keen's going to follow Flash Body Slam, and you can't get out. Meanwhile, Nidalee is on the bottom side, and this was just an overzealous gank attempt because they didn't know where Bang and Lehens were. They should have reasonably assumed they were on their way top, but maybe got the timing wrong a little bit at the end of the day, and this is actually a really nice cleanup for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah.
Brings them back into the game a little bit.
That is true. That is true. Dustblade now completed. Trinity Force as well. As the Mythics do start to rain down. No one on Afreeca has completed any of them just yet.
And it is, yeah, it's going lethality. And
yeah. Just take the lethal tempo so that you can get through the tanks a little bit easier in the late game. You do build, you know, at least a Last Whisper item of some kind.
Gotta be careful, Fly, in this moment, but he knows that he can turn this around on a dime if his teammates show up. But unfortunately, they're just pushed too far away, cut off at the top side, and you can see where Keen is on the minimap. He's not coming.
Yeah, spear going to be avoided there by Johan. Of course, does have a lot of movement speed as the Udyr, so it's pretty hard to hit him with any of these. As Fly's going to walk through a gravity field and not really mind, as you can see.
No, he's not too concerned.
Yep, Stride Breaker going to be coming through, and last time around we saw Afreeca not pick up quite as many of these turret plates. This time around we are very, very even. Certainly good news for them. It's a gold lead though for Hanwha Esports still, and this composition, it doesn't scale too badly, of course. With the range that they're going to have, they should be able to deal with a Kalisto who is very strong this time. That being said, Deft has turned around what was a CS deficit in the early game to a slight advantage now as they've moved towards the top side, but
yeah,
a few friends.
I feel like the real second issue in terms of this composition for, you know, that Afreeca has to deal with from Hanwha is not only do they have this really nice scaling in the range, but they also are going to have this extreme threat in the side lane.
Well, right. Morgan going to get delivered to Keen, but maybe this is exactly what he wants. As Johan says, oh, maybe I don't want this. As he is going to find him.
Out of turret range.
Oh no. Okay, teleport going to come forward as Morgan's desperately trying to get the minion wave involved. The teleport is cancelled. And this should be a very dead Gragas as Johan, just wanders away casually. And that's a very comfortable pickup. Okay, there's the flash out by Pulver's Dread. Has to flash his way out of there. Good face breaker though from Fly, who wants to try and get to the showstopper, but unfortunately, he's taken too much damage. Lahens gives him an extra shield, and the Haymaker's gonna help out as well, but Hanwha feeling a bit immovable here in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about though in the side lane, man. Morgan is gonna be able to threaten kills and also get a lot of extra gold and a lot of extra pushing power that's eventually gonna start threatening those inner turrets, then the inhibitor turret, right? I think we'll get a glimpse of what actually interrupts the teleport in a moment, but this is a really nice trade back here for Keen, but Johan's here. Hextech Ultimatum, unfortunately not able to secure the kill, but Keen actually steps a little bit too far away from the turret here, so he's taking a lot of damage, and it's going to be interrupted by Chovy.
Is he going to blind Chaos Storm? Oh my god, he is. That is... Damn. That's sick.
And that's the end of that, right? You can't join up. If he joins, it might actually be a trade back, but a double kill even.
Yep, Cloud Drake is going to be taken. Of course, as Cloud Soul, as Fly finds himself in amongst 4. His set's pretty good. It ain't that good.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a Drake and a free kill onto the mid laner at the same time as Vista, unfortunately, not quite able to get that ward down in time.
Afreeca are losing control of this game.
They really are.
Very quickly. And they're having problems controlling the macro game. And this is what starts to happen with Afreeca. Usually about like 25 minutes to 30 minutes, not at 16 minutes. But this side laning is definitely an issue. Keen's going to trade a turret back, at least. But I mean, it's a turret for a turret here. Plus the kill, plus the Drake. Hanwha Esports will take that any day of the week. And this is suddenly becoming a comp that's scaling so well and so difficult to deal with is the side laning, as this is just going to be, I guess, the replay of what we missed earlier.
This is Johan just stealing lunch money as well. He just comes in, gets a steal away, and Bang has Rend. Like, that should 100% be Afreeca's.
Yeah, and then Fly is just left behind because there's no way out with the rotation over from Morgan. You're just simply, you're caught and you're dead. At least he gives his life to make sure nobody else gets picked, but yeah, that steal shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, bit sad. Little bit sad.
Yeah, it's things just falling apart here very quickly for Afreeca. And these are the small moments that you notice with Afreeca where you're like, well, this is such a great team. But these small mistakes or these weird positioning errors in these drafts really come back to bite them. I mean, every piece of this team is so strong on its own, especially when Fly's on the set, right? Like, because otherwise you could argue maybe, okay, 4 of these pieces are strong on their own.
Whoa!
Okay, there he goes.
As he does find Deft. Deft is going to flash out of the way, but he does manage to throw through the ulti, and another headbutt to deliver the set. But of course, he has a pretty easy way out of there, but Unbreakable Will's there for Vista. He's not going to be taken down, and in the end, it's a bit of a stalemate.
It's a bit of a stalemate, but really nice damage trades here for Hanwha Esports because they have a Victor. Afreeca Freecs, it's going to be really difficult for them to actually try to turn and re-engage this because the damage output is just so consistent and so safe and stable here with a full health Chovy.
Yeah, it's too much poke as well, as Deft is actually pretty low on mana. Does need to complete his Mura mana, actually, before he's going to be really happy about that. As Keen throwing some barrels over. Deft finally going for a reset, goes home. We'll see what he can actually put together here on this back. It looks like not too much, actually.
I have to keep going back to this Atlas, but Chovy's hitting the 70 CS lead mark now in this game.
He's close to 12 CS a minute. We talk about 10 being really good, and yeah, he's almost at 12.
Set really falls off in his ability to farm and pressure at this stage of the game. He can be a really strong engage champion who can come in and lock somebody down. There's a lot of follow-up CC. He's very difficult to kill. He's a good frontliner. But he doesn't offer the same sort of damage output in these skirmishes. Especially the longer the fight goes on, the less value the set is going to have. And he's only got one item here, right? And
oh no. Vista not going to be able to headbutt Shirley. Unfortunately, she's going to get a charge, but it's not going to do too much of note as Morgan is over here. Control ward going to be eliminated by the Afreeca Freecs, who are grouping, trying to lock down this outer turret. Good fancy footwork there from the Camille to get out of the way of the spear. As Dread's going to throw another one in. Control ward taken down. Flies on the bottom lane, and you can see Chovy there on the top side of the map trying to grab this outer turret. So actually get some time there.
Yeah, so much free CS up there, so much damage done to this turret. And where's the answer here for Afreeca? They don't have one. They don't have somebody who can collapse up there and deal with that. They're trying to trade this turret in mid, and they're not even going to get it.
Yep, there's a headbutt pole. Lands on a Kane. Oh, unfortunately, Chains of Corruption barely. Not long enough.
Like, look at this. He's just been up here forever. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. He's still there.
250 CS, 20 minutes. What the heck?
It's just Chovy things.
Yeah, you were talking about this at the beginning of the game. It's like, oh, you'll just look down and he'll be at 300 CS. Well, that's going to happen in like the next couple of minutes.
And look at who else is getting free CS. Morgan on the bottom side of the map. Afreeca don't have any way to shut down this side lane pressure. And so Chovy gets free value. He retreats. Morgan is getting extra stuff done. They don't get the mid turret. There's no objectives on the map for them to take. And this is a composition that with 1,500 gold the lead for Morgan, he's allowed to make these choices and he becomes unstoppable in the side lane. That's why those kills and that level 6 timing, for example, are so important. You cannot give those away. I mean, also Chovy's 2,000 gold up, but most of that is from CS.
Yeah, it is. And it's actually almost impossible to understand quite how he does it. I like to think it's voodoo magic. That's how he manages to find more numbers, as Kane is looking for Chovy here, who's going to flash the explosive cast, but not the hook, unfortunately, as Vista. He's going to flash on in, looking for a pole now onto Kane, as the teleport is a little bit optimistic there from Morgan, who's not going to be able to grab the kill onto the hands, as it's quite late, but the Fate's Call is going to be there to try and save him. Some low health bars here on Afreeca, as you can see, Hanwha Esports still happy to push forward.
Chovy, I mean, he is ready for this fight. They're down there, Camille. But the low health bars, Chovy wants to fight this. He was like, oh yeah, come in that choke point, I dare you. Death rate value is huge.
Deft and Chovy still alive as in goes Fly, looking for that backline. Stride breakering forward, but Chovy is going to be safe for the moment. Hook is going to land once again, though Lehens has been a god on this Thresh so far this game. They do manage to take down the Udyr, but the damage threats are still here for Hanwha Life. That's why you see them walking forward, and they're wanting to deny this sole point.
This is going to be really hard, unfortunately, now for Hanwha Esports to take this fight. Chovy is too low.
Look at the low health bars. Yeah. They've got so much poke. Deft is looking at this shooting gallery as, the face breaker from over the walls. Too nice. And Afreeca will be able to take down the Drake. Chaos Storm once again back off cooldown as Vista. Not sure this is exactly where you want to be, my dude, as Morgan does come in. The exhaust down onto Fly as Chovy still here trying to get the work done. But the Haymaker still too strong, and Hanwha Esports trickling into fights like this ain't going to win them.
No, yeah, it's time to get away from this fight. I don't want to chase anymore. It was realistic for Chovy to continue to push the issue when they lost Morgan at first, but then Fly had a really nice follow-up play, and then he ends up going down extremely low. And from that moment on, there's just no way to continue the fight, but he stays, and then Vista is caught. So, I mean, at this stage, you know, the teleport comes through from behind, Fly is blocked, Morgan is dead, and then Fly just continues to push the issue here.
Yeah, Morgan and Fly do exactly the same thing, but Fly is tanky, and Morgan absolutely is not.
He's not, right? So Fly stays, and then Chovy is like, okay, this is the death ray fight that I'm talking about where he's taking the choke point, and then Fly gets in. He's stunned, but he's so tanky, he's on top of Chovy now. And Vista comes in by himself. Chovy and he are disconnected. Chovy got hit by a spear, so can't come in to finish off these low health targets. And from this point on, it's like, we got to get out of here is what Hanwha Esports should be saying, but they continue to further chase. The facebreaker hits over the wall, and it's a pick on the Deft, who's just trying to steal this Drake away. Keen's there for the follow-up. I mean, this was a very big overstay and a really nice play there from Fly to set up the spear to push Chovy out.
Yeah, you can understand why Hanwha Life were trying to do it, right? They were looking for the range advantage and really pressuring that one forward because, of course, Varus is pretty unanswerable unless they get a flash hook or flash flay or something like that from Lehens. And it is, you know, it is very valuable to get that poke. However, yeah, he was a little bit too close over that wall, and the facebreaker barely clips him.
Look at the range. I mean, you could see it here.
Yeah, it works.
Dread has been hitting spears like crazy, like nobody's business in these mid-game fights, too.
Yeah, the early game, he was like missing every single one of them. Exactly. But now he's figured it out, as we've got Rageblade Callista coming through again here for Bang.
Yeah.
Don't mind it. Realizing that he wants a little bit more of a focus on the single target, as this tower is on its last legs. Breathed on there by Deft and will be taken down.
Baron is up, but it's very difficult for Hanwha Life Esports to actually start it at this stage. I think they're going to try to get some pressure on with Vista and Morgan here in the side lane to maybe set that up. But yep. Unfortunately for them, Keen is leaving, and Vista will follow suit. I think you have to get some real sideline pressure to pull people back before you can Baron here. Otherwise, we're going to have a bit of a low state Atlas towards another Cloud Soul.
Indeed. Morgan's still trying to put on some pressure here towards the bottom side. He has a stopwatch now, so 11. A little bit safer. There's 11.6 now. He's gone down by 0.1, so we're a little bit disappointed.
He went back up. There we go.
All right, 11.8. Never mind. Okay, it's all fine.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. I mean, Victor can see us really well. But the fact that he's just not pressured at all
he's
is the
Flame
issue.
Horizon, he's more than Flame Horizon by 25 minutes.
Yep.
Pretty soon. Of course, Set not necessarily known for taking heaps of creeps, does want to be able to get around the map and utilize his great kit in these skirmishes. So you can understand why he's so far behind. That being said, it's still a fact, and it's still pretty impressive.
I mean, the issue is that he's just getting so much free gold to scale up on this Victor that does so well in team fights, and he's going to get a Void Staff to top it all off fairly soon here. And there's no one who can stop him. There's no one who can actually stop him from getting that free farm right now. If you put your resources on trying to kill the Victor, then the Camille goes off and does something on the other side, and we have this really strong 1-3-1 comp that has good range and nice disengage with the Alistair. So as Afreeca, it's really hard to punish anything Hanwha Life is doing, and the problem is just compiling on itself and getting worse and worse as Toby gets more gold.
That being said, Baron is going to be really important for Afreeca. If they're able to get it, then the wave clear is not going to be enough to clear out minion waves. As Chains of Corruption fly in, but they do go wide. As now Vista's in so much trouble. Fly finds the backline. He's looking for depth. The heal goes through, but the sidestep is going to be enough to get him out of the Haymaker. Now Lehens is just going to get burst down, and Fate's Call does absolutely nothing, and you can see Morgan this time has the backup of his team, flashes on top of Bang, and now there's no one left to do damage here for Afreeca, and Morgan's having a field day. That's an ace, and speaking of Baron, it belongs to Hanwha Life.
Hanwha Life are just going to walk up and take it. Belongs to them. Their name is written all over it, and Hanwha Life Esports just trade so superbly well. Fly goes in, and sure, you know, Vista overextended. He was not able to confirm any kills, but so many cooldowns were used on him. There's no one to peel for Fly. He was like, oh no, I'm here by myself. And he just disappears, and from that moment on, there's just too much consistent damage output in this Hanwha Life squad. And they're outranged, Afreeca Freecs are, and they just melt. You cannot fight anymore, and then they go for the chase. So Vista sees blood in the water, goes on alone. Look at Fly, he's here on the flank, and Vista is just unfortunately unable to do anything. But look at the turnaround. Fly, even with his Haymaker, he is not long for this world. And Lehens tries to make a proactive play, but look at Deft, untouched anymore.
Yeah.
And then you've got the lockdown from Morgan. You're just really trapped if you're Afreeca Freecs. You can't disengage from this fight anymore.
And it's like they've both got divers here on the side of Hanwha Life and Afreeca. It's Fly and it's Vista as well that wants to go in and get all of that CC. It's not Morgan. Morgan doesn't want to be doing that. He wants to be going in for the follow-up.
Yeah, he wants to clean it up.
That's exactly what happened last time, and it worked out very well. But now Morgan's going to get closed in on face breakers, but so much CC absolutely everywhere. As this time the Camille is going to get wiped out. Chovy out of position, but does go golden and avoids the hook. Another showstopper as Fly is going to flash out, but look at the health bars. They're going down so low as Deft and Chovy are raining hell on top of Afreeca. Lining up these arrows as in goes Lehens trying to be the hero. The Fate's Call is going to pull him immediately out. Back in again to try and lock down Deft, but he flashes away and snipes down the Thresh. Chovy still alive, by the way. Locks down yet another one with the Q as the piercing arrow was so close.
Johan
and Bang
and
Keen, yeah, they are limping towards this dragon. They want to grab this soul as much as they can. As Johan, he's got Franklin form. He'll be absolutely fine. Not actually with this skin. It's called Turtle. Yeah, this one's a little bit too cool. As Chovy, he's going to Everfrost the dragon, and Deft is going to be pushing down this wave. And man, that was a crazy fight, though, Wolf. It lasted forever.
Yeah, it was a really long fight, but you know, the difference here, the difference maker in this fight is Chovy, and you can see Morgan is not where he wants to be, right? This is not really his fault. He's actually collapsed upon by the blast cone. But if you watch this fight with Chovy, he's in the front line for so long. You can see how far forward Bang actually has to go to do the damage to him. Dread commits in, and when Chovy doesn't die here, Afreeca Freecs are doomed because he is just able to continue to do damage from now on, and they don't have any gap closer anymore. They don't have any way to deal with him. Bang is just too low range, and it has to keep kiting away. As meanwhile,
Lehens is at 100 health or something like that. Johan's just going to chase him down. This skin is actually way too cool. As the hook is going to taxi him. Oh, the Grump, one more auto. Oh, gets into the brush as now the Grump is going to turn tail. He's looking for Johan instead. Smoke to death. Okay, that'll do it. As Hanwha Life now continuing to push. They don't have Baron. Oh, wait, they do, actually. It is alive for another 20 seconds. Unfortunately, I looked at Morgan. He died. Didn't have that buff anymore.
Yeah, it's just for a few more seconds here. They're not going to be able to get any inhibitors with the Baron buff right now. But this Drake, advantage that Afreeca Freecs had is really starting to fall by the wayside. And if the Cloud Soul actually goes over to Johan, he becomes so much more difficult to lock down and is able to chase so much better and engage so much better. The speed at which Hanwha Life Esports can rotate around the map and make plays like this, grabbing a turret, threatening kills around in the jungle around it, is so difficult to deal with for Afreeca because the comp is so low range and can't match these rotations. You have to really commit a big rotation of everyone if you're Afreeca Freecs to deal with something like this. Then you lose other objectives on the map. If you don't get the kill on Camille, you're like, oh, well now there's problems in the mid lane, you know?
Yeah, feels like there's problems absolutely everywhere. I think Chovy's gonna do it, man. I think it might be back-to-back Pogs. He might be out at 900 points after this one because this has been such a dominant performance. As Morgan is going to find Lehens. Okay, this is how it all started before Lehens went on walkabout, as the blast cone is going to be avoided, but Morgan, yeah, he's able to be displaced out of his ulti, so instead it has to be this merry jaunt that good old Johan
look at where
Lehens go on.
Look where everyone else is on the minimap. They're just protecting Morgan. They're drawing a line between the rest of Afreeca and Morgan. Without the Thresh there, you don't have any really strong engage. You can't pick anybody in the jungle. And now Johan, the mobile ward, he's looking for lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. And he's 1 versus 2 right now, but he's pretty tanky, as you can see. Vista comes on over, and yeah, Keen and Dread, they have to walk away from this one. Chovy has found something that looks like a minion, and he's going to kill it, of course.
367. Yeah. He's going to hit 400 this game.
It's not bad. He's still 60 ahead of the clock. As in goes Morgan, does find himself a bit of a stun there onto Keen. Dread. Oh, that's a party cast. It's not really what you want. As Dread is going to go golden. The turret is going to be taken down, though, as now the Nidalee will explode. Primal Surge keeps him alive for a little bit longer as Fly looking for the flank, but he explodes. Oh, manages to get the ulti off first, but is still going to be taken down.
And there's just so much damage here for Hanwha Life Esports that if you don't get that kill onto Morgan at the beginning, they just walk away from the rest of the team, collapse onto Fly, who's desperately trying to make a flank happen. And I feel like we've seen this so many times with Set, Atlas, throughout this season, where in the later parts of the game, you have a Set who's trying to flank and look for a big showstopper, and that's his whole job. And if he gets spotted or just collapsed upon, he dies, and then it's a 5v4 fight. There's no front line anymore. I really liked the pick for the draft. I really liked how he executed it in the early parts of the game.
Yeah, it used to work well, but unfortunately there's just too much damage now. So he goes in for his flank and pops like a balloon.
Yeah, so watch this. Morgan goes in by himself, and Fly is teleporting from behind. So this entire time he's not here to peel. Morgan, there's no turret shots anymore. He can do so much.
Oh dear.
Dread is actually forced away, and then there's collapse on the fly. Like, oh, he teleported behind us? Well, let's just turn and kill him. And then Afreeca have no place at this place on the map anymore. They have to walk away, sadly. Tail between the legs on that one.
Def definitely called his cousins over, though, as you saw. You know, he was getting bullied by Big Bad Set. And then he's like, no, I've got my boys. And everyone came and saved him while he was golden. Lehens now might be caught out of position. As Fly's in here as well. Decent face breaker, but it's cancelled out by the Pulverize. As Morgan gets the stun, the Set just not tanky. He's built Blade of the Ruin King. He just explodes in the back line.
This is such a frustrating place to be in for Afreeca Freecs. You don't have range here. The clear time at this point for the Baron is pretty quick.
Yeah. And Johan as well can tank it almost indefinitely.
Look at where Vista is. He has full vision here. He has a ward in the brush.
Yep, he's going to get headbutted back, and oh no, Lehen's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And Johan's running real fast, as you can see, wanting to start this fight up. Keen goes in, decent cast back, but there's no follow-up. And yep, Fly getting a decent ulti, but as you can see, Morgan's picking up double kills, and Afreeca just have absolutely no damage. The wallets be too heavy, and Hanwha Life, they don't really care about it, Baron. They're just going to win the game.
Chovy just sitting there at full health doing so much damage. And he's like, this is the path of least resistance to the Nexus. I'm going to head right up here.
Yep.
It's like a lightning bolt. Take out this inhibitor and push for the win. Very impressive game for Hanwha Esports. They gave up early Drakes. They understood that that was a place in the game where they were going to be the most vulnerable. They wanted to play around their side laning. The Camille got a little bit fed early, and they controlled the macro. They controlled the later fights when the scaling came into play, and it's an easy cleanup here.
Yep, some more kills just to pad these KDAs. 5-1 and 11 on the Varus, but this was a story once again about mid lane difference. Chovy,
can he get 400?
With the most ludicrous gold lead, 395 to 230 as the Nexus